All right, Kendrick. Tell me one thing. Explain this to me. You're 30 years old. You had played 114 regular season games, 4 in the postseason. You had one game where you had exactly 100 yards receiving. And now in back-to-back games, 142. Explain that to me.
Yeah, it's a blessing, man. I kind of thinking of it like I'm a late bloomer, like in a sense, like not trying to get too high, too low or anything, but just staying stagnant and where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like trusting the process of how I've been doing things. The ball finds you sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. And these last 2 weeks, man, it's been finding me pretty consistently. So just making the plays when they come, trying to get yards after catch, different things, but maximizing the plays, being prepared, and you get the result from that.
You mentioned yards after the catch. I understand Kyle Shanahan got on you in a team meeting about not getting yards after the catch, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So how did you take that?
Yeah, just taking the coaching. It's tough coaching. It's being better. Like you make a catch, you get tackled, you watch the film, how can I be better? How can I get more out of the play? Even the plays that I do make, when I get, which way could I have ran to get further? Maybe take it to the end zone. So that's kind of how Kyle operates. And he looks at it like, it's a good play, but how can we get more? And that mentality is going to help us win.
Your mentality is a very aggressive mentality. And Kyle has talked about, like, you go get the ball.
Correct.
And when you go get the ball so aggressively, it makes it more difficult to catch the ball.
Absolutely.
So what's that trade-off for you?
Yeah, sometimes it bites you. So I have to have disciplined eyes. Like, I'm so anxious to run because I feel a lane, but I also have to focus at the catch point. So looking it in, staring at it, and then transitioning, not looking here and then going because it can bite me. Ball goes through my hand. So that's the type of stuff that I evaluate on film, which Kyle does too. We watch it, and he knows. He sees how I'm looking at it. He sees where I'm looking. And so not getting anxious, being patient, but also staying aggressive because it's my strength. So I can't dim my power, but also focusing at the catch point so I can make big plays.
So 4 years with the 49ers, 4 years with the New England Patriots. And when this season started, first week of the regular season, you didn't have a team.
Correct.
How difficult was that for you for the first time in your NFL career, week one, not knowing what the future held?
Yeah, me and my agent been talking about it. There's no growth in comfort. There's no, you don't change when you can know what you're doing every day. You know the routine. So it was kind of like God challenging me in a way, like, hey, he's changing it up on me, and I gotta trust his plan, and that's kind of what happened. So coming back here was just awesome, familiar with this system and Kyle and how they do things. So it was a blessing, but it was tough. It was new. It was change, but I think that's where the growth comes from, and I think that's why I'm kind of playing well. I kind of got a fire lit up under me, and it's urgent for me right now to put good things on film, make a name for myself, rebuild my name because I kind of was going downhill a little bit when I went over there. It was struggles, ball not coming my way, injuries, different things. So a lot of struggling times, a lot of adversity, but that's where you grow and that's where you change. I think that's what's happening.
So that first week of the regular season, you didn't have a 53-man roster spot available to you. What was that first Sunday without football like?
Wow, that's a great question. It was new. It was weird. So I was really just watching football, watching teams. Like I had conversations here about, okay, there's a possibility. Had conversations other places. And so I'm watching teams. I'm kind of evaluating what would make sense. And it worked out in my favor, get to see how the team working over here and things like that. But it was new. It was different. It was challenging. I was getting anxious. I could feel it like, I got to get back out there. Like, I know I can help somebody. I know I can be a good piece for a team. And obviously, we chose here, got here, and it's been working out. So it was a good choice, obviously. But that time was tough. But it was refining. And it was a time that I needed to step back, see it from a different lens, feel that, and apply it to what I'm doing now.
Kyle Shanahan is known to be a very difficult coach on wide receivers. So what did it tell you that after 4 years in New England, he wanted you here?
No, it's awesome. And when I think about Kyle, as receivers, we're his babies. Like, we're kind of the engine to the whole system of what it is and how we're throwing the ball now. It's awesome. And we're trying to get the run game going, things like that. But Kyle, it says a lot about the relationship we built together. He gave me my first op, and I'm always thankful for that undrafted guy. Could have threw me to the curve, but saw the potential in me, believed in me, and it helped me believe in myself more. And when I was younger, I was immature, younger, just moving fast, not really understanding how special it is. And then going away, coming back, I got more of an understanding. I feel different now about how I view him, how I view the team, how I view playing a role, and just maturing, growing. becoming a pro and different things, and I'm thankful that I built a good relationship with him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you had a good career at Eastern Washington playing on a red artificial turf. Like, do people ever ask you about that red turf?
No, people love it. And I've seen other schools. I don't know if there's high schools or other things, but I've been seeing other schools have red turf, but it was just unique. It was a unique space, a unique place. Learned a lot from the school. And just
you had a pretty good teammate as a wide receiver.
Yeah, Big Coop. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows Coop, man. I love him. He did a lot for me. So those experiences over there led me to where I'm at too. Are a big part of where I'm at, my development. And the red turf is special, man. So I love wearing red. You know what I'm saying? I love the red jerseys, just different feels. So coming over here to San Fran was normal for me to see a lot of red.
As I recall, were you injured in that first training camp, or there was a point where you weren't out there playing?
Correct.
I think maybe you got a late start.
Yeah.
But what kind of stuck with me at that point was like, man, they must really like this guy because they're sticking with him.
Absolutely.
When people didn't know who you were,
Absolutely.
when you were an undrafted rookie. So
Correct.
what do you think? What do you think Kyle and the 49ers saw in you?
Yeah, so that time was a time of adversity too. You know, I did miss a meeting. I was late, and I don't know what I was doing, but you know, just being young, not being on top of everything, and I ended up missing a couple games. He inactivated me, and I was going through it, but it was good for me. It was adversity. It was showing me that, hey, you have to be on top of this. You got to be a pro. You got to do things right. And I think they just saw the potential, though. You know, like, hey, let's teach them a lesson, discipline them, but keep them around. And that's a blessing in itself. I could have easily been, hey, out the door you go. But Kyle, you know, saw the potential and that belief, you know, built in me. So going through that time and practicing, not being able to suiting up one time and then not for the next 7 weeks was tough, but I learned a lot and it was good for me.
My vision of you, that 2017 season, you guys were not very good.
No, it was rough.
And you guys had just lost the game, and I was doing the post-game show outside your locker room, and they brought you out to me. And you were the most positive guy. And I got so much feedback from fans who had never even heard of you. Were like, man, Kendrick Bourne is like, that's the guy that team needs to build with because of your positivity. I'm sure you don't remember that, but do you remember going through those really rough times when you guys could not buy a win and the mindset that was in the building and in your mind about how better days were ahead?
Yeah, I think that's what's awesome about this situation happening with me being back. You know, I was a part of the foundation, building the foundation with Kyle, going through the struggling years. And it's special. You know, I understand how hard it was in that time. And I definitely don't remember that specific time that I met you, but those days were rough. They were hard. You know, it's the gritty times. Who we going to be? Who we need to move? What is it going to be? Who's the role? And just to be a part of that is special. So moving on, going to the Super Bowl in 2019, those things, and then coming back here, the culture is built and has a strong foundation. So I think that's what we, you know, stay strong on, and we can get to where we want to go with these next few games this year. And I think that's what you gotta stay strong in, because if you don't have a good foundation, you're not gonna get anywhere. It's the building's gonna fall. So those times were good for me.
I know we talked about how Kyle's tough on wide receivers. He puts a lot on your plate too.
Absolutely.
So can you kind of take me through a play call, and when you break the huddle, like, what's going through your mind? What are your responsibilities when you hear that a particular pass play is called?
Yeah, it's a process. So if we call it pass plays are more longer. I got a specific play in my mind, and then run plays are kind of shorter. And when I go out, I got to know what my depth is. I got to know if it's cover 2, cover 1. I got to see if it's single high, 2 high, different things.
How many different routes could you run off of one play?
Usually it's possibly 2.
Okay.
Sometimes it get complex. It can be 3. So it can get tricky fast. So I have to know what position I'm in, who I'm next to, and things like that, how I compliment him. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So you have time to process it as you're in the huddle and as you're walking out to line up. You have about a good 20 seconds. That's pretty long, you know what I'm saying, to process what you got to do. But it can't happen long. So as I'm taking notes and doing things, okay, how can I process this play the fastest? Like where it hits me fast. And sometimes when it doesn't hit fast, when I'm reading it out loud or reading it, okay, I have to figure out a way in my mind for this to process faster so that I can play fast, run fast, catch the ball, get yards and all those things. So it's a process.
But even when you're lining up, a team might be showing one defense
Correct.
and they rotate into something else. And now you have to make that adjustment on the fly.
On the fly. And that's where the challenge is. And that's what the coaches evaluate. Who can do that? Whose mind is really locked in? It shows. That's why you record everything, because they have to see who's processing it fast, who's going to react. And then even in the game last week, I was supposed to get my eyes around on the route. Mac Jones threw an interception. Like, that's my fault. I have to get my eyes around because he's hot. And so plays like that where I have to be sharp and I have to learn from those plays. And now this week, I'm going to go into practice, getting my eyes around, learning from the mistake, learning from what I got bit by, and applying it. So, you know what I'm saying? You don't get everyone right, but what do you learn from it? How do you apply what you made a mistake on, and who's processing it the fastest?
You know what Mac seems to do really well, and you can tell me if this is a conscious thing on his part or if it just works out this way. It seems like every time there's a mistake made, wide receiver to quarterback, he goes right back to you. Like if you have a drop, he's going right back to you. On that play, he went right back to you the next time. There was a play with Demarcus Robinson, goes right back. Do you think, does Mac do that intentionally, you think? Or
That's a great point. I think it's just trust. I think it's team, camaraderie. It's important. Like, just because I have a mistake, you don't mean we lose trust in each other. Like, it's how it goes. That's what winning teams do. That's what good teams do. They trust each other even through mistakes, hard times. I think that's what he's doing. He's trusting us, not because we're not defined by one play. We're not defined by a good play. We're not defined by a bad play. And I think it was last week, I dropped the 5-yard under in LA, and he came right up to me. And he's like, let it go. And then the next play, I made a good play, and he's like, let it go. So when he does that, that shows me that there's still trust there. So not only with me, but what you're saying with D-Rob, anybody else, he knows, hey, I have to trust him because I might need him the next play. So if he thinks like that, like, oh, he dropped it this time, then it might bite him again. So I think he has a good mindset of just moving on.
You guys seem to have pretty similar outlooks. You're both fun-loving. How did you and Matt hit it off right from the beginning?
Yeah, when he was a rookie, it was my first year in New England, and it was just, we connected. Like, I could see his personality. He was a backup then behind Cam Newton and stuff like that. So he was kind of in a space of just trying to earn his role, learn how to move around the building. And I noticed he was just moving cool, moving smart, moving as a pro, as a young guy. Being at Bama, he's probably learned a lot, but we just connected naturally, man. And then just as the days went on, connected more, learning more about each other, different things. So it was just a natural connection.
And then it seems like you came in and you have a connection with Ricky Pearsall.
Correct.
Right. And he's a different personality than Max.
Yeah.
So how did you guys connect so well from the beginning?
Just having things in common, liking music, liking to dance. He has a girlfriend, things like that, being in relationships, stuff like that, that we connected with. We got the same faith and things like that. So it was just natural. But the handshakes and stuff were like the same kind of energy. And it was just dope, man. I needed to be around something like that. It definitely poured into my cup, and he let me know I'm pouring into his cup. And it's a good connection because now, we're always competing to stay on the team, to have a role and things like that. But when you can disconnect the competing between each other and competing with other teams and outside world, then it's stronger inside. You don't want to compete. We know we're competing. So how do we disconnect that? And I think that's how our connection is there, because we know, hey, we want to play. We want all the catches. We want everything. But how do we remove that and become better teammates? And I think that's what we felt between each other.
I mean, think about these last few games with Juwan's been injured, hasn't really produced. Ricky's been out. You've stepped up for 142 and 142. Do you think about just what this season holds for that wide receiver room and how you can fit in and what will be asked of you?
Yeah, just playing that role. Like when Kyle needs me, I was saying it to them. I got my opportunity because Ricky did go down. JJ went down a couple weeks ago. I've been in the rotation, and the next man up is there, and it's about being prepared. Are you prepared? Whoever it is. And Fred Warner just went down. Whoever is behind him, it's next man up. And so I took advantage of the op, taking advantage of it, and trying to make the most of the situation. And it's my time to do it. So it's been a blessing, but just letting the guys know, hey, I'm playing a role. I'm not coming here to try to take over and anything like that. I'm here to play a role, help, and get us to where we're trying to go. And I think the guys have understood that. And I have a relationship with a lot of the guys, so they know how I think, how I operate. And it's been good so far.
Yeah. How many guys? Not too many are still around.
Not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many.
But was it good to see some familiar faces when you walked in?
Absolutely. Trent, he welcomed me in. George, JJ, Ayuk, a lot of those guys, they they were happy to see me because they know me. They know exactly who I am, how I do things, and it was a natural, welcome back. And so it was special, man. It made the transition super easy.
All right, KB, I was playing some music when you walked in here. So Christian rap, that's
correct, yeah.
And you got something. You got something coming out.
Gospel
here?
rap, yeah. It's called Narrow Road. It should be dropping soon. I don't know the specific date, but yeah, y'all keep a lookout for that, man.
And
it's
so you're talking about your music, dancing, maturity. Does all that kind of fit in?
It all connects. You know what I'm saying? Speaking the right things, even through the music. Sending the right message, helping people, encouraging people. Different things like that. So, the dancing, people love dancing. People love the energy, the music. It feeds your spirit. It can feed you the right way. It can get you energized to go play, things like that. And just being who I am, it all connects, man. Growing up, I'm doing the right thing. So it all matches as I'm just growing older, getting more mature.
Your game face isn't a scowl. It's you're like when you were getting ready to play, you're
exactly.
happy.
Yeah. I talked to Richard Sherman on his podcast last night, and he was saying that. He actually gave me a good compliment. He said, you were the first person I've seen that it made me realize that you don't have to be so uptight to get ready to play a game. And I was like, dang, coming from Sherman, that's like a legend. And so it warmed my heart yesterday, him saying that. And it puts a stamp on it that I can keep doing these things, and it might inspire somebody to loosen up, to enjoy the game. Like, it's a different perspective. Everybody's different. I work in this unique way, but it might help somebody relax and go into the game, even play better than being so tight.
All right. Hey, KB, thanks so much, man.
You,
it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, brother.